Okay, update. We found our wedding venue.
Live your life within the moment, and don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another video. I am going to get ready, go through like my skincare routine, a little bit of makeup to go and see our first wedding venue. I am going with Ryan, obviously, and then also our friend Zaina is driving us, which is so kind and helpful of her. My priority with this is to just have a space and a wedding that feels like me and Ryan. I want someone to walk in, I want someone to leave the wedding being like, wow, that was such a Casey and Ryan event. And it's been a little bit of a challenge to find those venues because I would say that we don't skew very like traditional ballroom folk. We actually did end up taking a quiz online on The Knot. Basically, it shows you photos of certain types of venues. It sorts them and then at the end gives you what the vibe that best matches you is. We got rustic for ours. Ryan's brother's fiance is, they are actually getting married in August and I feel like they have a very similar vibe to us. And she recommended a book for me. It's called Bridechilla, which I love. And it's kind of like a self-help book. And it was like a Bridechilla is basically someone who doesn't necessarily want to go the non-traditional route, but is also a people pleaser. So this book is all about teaching you to like do what's right for you. A lot of the times with planning weddings, it's referred to as like the best day of your life. And she was saying that, you know, a wedding is really just setting you up for so many more best days. You know, this isn't the best day. There are going to be so many best days in your marriage and in your relationship. And I think that that's a really beautiful way to look at it. This is my favorite blush. It is the Rose Pocket Blush in Sleepy Girl, which is accurate, and it just like blends very easily. We are hoping to do like a 2026 wedding. Just really didn't want to rush through the planning process and have it be stressful, and I know that a lot of venues get booked up like pretty in advance too. I always do like my mascara and my eyeliner in brown. I just feel like it's less harsh. I got this giant bronzer, Luminous Silk Bronzing Powder. I think maybe it's Armani. That looks like a GA to me. Giorgio. I got this for the Sephora sale this year and I really like it. I have a love-hate relationship with bronzer. And a little bit more blush because that is my favorite step. And I'm gonna finish it off with the Caudalie Paris Beauty Elixir. I would love to be in like a group to name beauty products. Right, it's always the moment of truth when I put these bad boys back on. Oh, I need to clean them. This is the look. Let's go get ready and get going. Okay, we kicked things off right here in New Jersey. Shout out to Zaina for driving us and also for taking all of this B-roll. But we went to Perona Farms. This was a 10 out of 10 first venue experience. It's a family-owned business. We actually got to meet the son. They gave us champagne and hot chocolate chip cookies. An interesting thing about Perona is that there are 3 venues in one property, which actually did end up being a con for us just because there is the possibility of there being 3 weddings on the same day. She did say that they stagger the start time so there's not too much overlap, but still it's something to think about. This was the first venue. It was called The Barn, and this is where the cocktail hour would take place. Ryan really loved this one, but I can't say I was a huge fan. It was just a little too rustic, like pub vibes for me, but the outdoor space was really beautiful. Something that I am keeping in mind while we tour venues in the winter is that they're not going to look like this when we get married. They're going to be a little bit more lush, but we really did love the upstairs space in the barn. We were taking notes of the things that we did like the twinkle lights and the wood, but in the end, this just wasn't the right venue for us. One of the venues that we were really considering though was the second one we saw at Perona, which was called The Refinery. We kept going back and forth on this one. We really loved the indoor-outdoor ceremony space. Those doors and the roof roof were retractable, so if it's raining they can close them, but if it's sunny they can open them, and I really loved the ease of that. Another big pro with Perona was that it was close to the airport. We're gonna have a lot of family and friends flying in from Miami, so I loved the ease of that as well. Here's another look at the ceremony space. This is really what got us to come out to see this venue. We just loved that it kind of looked like a greenhouse, and it really was so beautiful. Ryan and I went up and did like a practice run to see how it felt. Another great pro with Perona was that there was a lot included with the package. So the chairs, the tables, the catering, the alcohol, we would really only be in charge of getting the DJ, the florals, and a photographer, and I felt like that was really nice. There were also a lot of food options, and in the cocktail hour space there was a pizza oven, which we were very excited about. But in the end, the spaces just felt a bit too big and kind of cold. I didn't really know how to explain it. It felt like we were on a TV show set in a lot of the spaces, and we are planning to invite 100 guests, but we plan that there will be less people coming, so it just felt a little too big and didn't have that cozy and intimate vibe that we're hoping for our wedding. I read a comment from a bride on Reddit, and she said, don't pick a venue that you want to turn into something else, because you'll end up being exhausted and spending a lot of money turning it into something that it's not. And I think that that was great advice to keep in mind. I was a little nitpicky in the reception space. I didn't love that the windows were frosted, and I'm glad that I asked about it because she said they're frosted because the other venue has their cocktail hour right outside of these windows. Another con with Perona was that the package that was in our budget was for a Thursday wedding, which could get a little tricky with people flying in. So in the end, this wasn't the right venue for us, but if you are in New Jersey, I highly recommend going. We had a great experience, and I think it's a great option.
Morning vlog, it's the Emily Cam. We are here in Miami, Florida, touring a venue for Casey and Ryan for their wedding. So come along with us.
Okay, surprise! We are in Miami, Florida for this next venue. At this point in the hunt, I did start to have a little bit of an identity crisis. If you know me, you know I grew up in Miami. My whole family is Cuban, and a lot of them still live in Miami. And Ryan and I had spoken about it. We didn't really see ourselves getting married in Florida, but I was talking to my friend Emily about the identity crisis, and she just showed up at this villa, and she was like, I'm gonna send you some videos and we can talk about it. It really was stunning. This actually used to be someone's home in like the Coconut Grove area, and then they transformed it into this event space. I think something that's been really fun about looking at different venues is that we've learned some things that we really like and some things that we don't really like about different spaces. In this one, we loved the backyard wedding vibe, the gardens, the greenery, just the outdoors and the nature aspect of it, and it's something that we're really keeping in mind with the search going forward. Something else that I really learned is that it's super important to me that I'm bringing in parts of my culture and my roots into our wedding day. I want to brainstorm with my parents to think of some fun ideas to bring a little bit of Miami to wherever we may be getting married. And while the outdoor space was beautiful, this spot did have quite a few cons. I think one of the biggest ones was the layout of the villa itself was a little bit awkward. For example, this is where the dance floor space would be, and I was having a hard time like picturing people in heels dancing by this fountain. I think another con is that the villa is older, so I think that adds a lot of charm to the space, but it also means that they rely heavily on like ceiling fans and window AC units, and with somewhere like Miami, it gets incredibly hot, which led us to our next con. If we were to get married here or really anywhere in Miami, it would probably need to be like the January, February time when it's not as hot, but that would mean that we would be getting married in less than a year, which felt like too rushed, or in 2 years, which felt like too long. We're looking for something in between. Another con about this space, and probably the biggest one, was just how expensive it was. This wasn't like Perona Farms where a lot of things were included, so when you started to add up all those separate costs, it was really just out of budget for us, and that combined with all of the cons that it already had just confirmed that this wasn't the right venue for us. Okay, good morning team. It is a gloomy one here today, but Ryan and I are really excited. We are hitting the road. We are getting out of here to go and look at some more venues. I think the reality when looking at wedding spaces in New York, in Brooklyn, in New Jersey is that they are really expensive. Venues anywhere, we have learned throughout this process, are really expensive. Ryan and I set a budget that we were both comfortable with at the start of this search, and we really want to stick to it as best as we can. We don't want to just blow all of our budget on the space itself and not have any funds left over to make it look like our own. So we opened ourselves up to like the greater New England and surrounding areas. I've been looking in Boston, Rhode Island, Maine, and just like small towns around, and we actually found a venue that we are really excited about. We have a great feeling about it. The budget is great. I'm trying not to get my hopes up too much because we obviously haven't seen it in person. I'm really excited because we decided to make a weekend out of it. So we're going to go and visit Ryan's brother and Iz. So even if this isn't the venue, we're still going to be having fun and like bonding and seeing family. I think that's one of my biggest tips that I've learned throughout this wedding process is to try and make it as fun as possible. It can get stressful and you can really get caught up in the money and not finding a place and just driving yourself nuts. So I think it's really important to kind of take a step back, zoom out, ask for help when you need it. So we are going to go and pick up the rental car now. I will keep you guys posted on how the venue goes, and I'll see you soon.
I can't let you go, baby. I just wanna tell you that. No, 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 yeah. All of my friends say, girl, you better take care.
Love you.
'Cause that man is trouble, you best beware. And though you're down, I know I might be headed for teardrops. Now that you got me started, I just can't stop. No, no. 'Cause I love you, baby. I can't let you go, baby. I gotta tell you that I've been looking for love so true. When I was down and out, along came you. Though you might be a liar and a cheat too, I just can't quit you now 'cause I love you. Yes, I do. I can't let you go, baby. I can't let you go, baby. 'Cause I love you, I love you, I love you. No, no, no,
Table score from Home Goods. Just stunning. Okay, update. We found our wedding venue. If you couldn't tell from my very festive sweater, we are getting married in the New England area in 2026, and I am so excited. We had so much fun visiting Josh and Izzy and just going around and exploring places where they live. They came to the venue with us. It was just really fun to hang out with them. The venue visit itself was a bit of a bust. It snowed a bunch when we went, so there was snow and ice, and it was kind of hard to walk around the grounds. And again, I think a tough part about going to see venues in the winter is just envisioning what it will look like when we get married. But she showed us a bunch of photos of what the venue actually looks like and just like different options for things. She like sent out a list of all of the flowers that will be in bloom on the day of our wedding, and it's just really, really exciting. We are going for kind of a garden party, backyard wedding vibe, like rom-com, father of the bride, just all mixed into one. I feel like it's gonna feel so us, and I can't wait to bring it to life. I took some notes just to give you guys like some takeaways if any of you are on the same boat or just interested in the wedding venue hunt process. A lot of people mentioned to me that finding a venue is sometimes the hardest part of wedding planning, and unfortunately it's one of the first things that you have to do. And I will say it came as a bit of a shock, not only like the sticker shock, like seeing the prices of things and how much, you know, putting on a wedding will cost, but also just the shock of figuring out what you like and going to see places with your partner and feeling like, is this the right thing for us? It brought on like a lot of feelings and a lot of anxiety. Was I making the right decision? Was I choosing the right date? Were people going to be upset with me if I chose a Friday over a Saturday? Just a bunch of things going on in this little head. My friends and I call my anxiety my hamster. And I can confirm that the hamster was running on that wheel. But I think once we talked about what we wanted to do and really talked through the options and let go of other people's expectations and just realized that we're not going to be able to make everybody happy, so we should just focus on making each other happy, I feel like there was a big weight lifted off of our shoulders. Reddit. I love Reddit. Who knew? Never been on there before. Wouldn't dare, but I will say that bridal Reddit I think is really, really helpful. Sometimes you can look at venues and stuff on the Knot. There was like another wedding place where you could look up reviews and stuff like that. But for a lot of the venues, I just typed in the name of the venue and Reddit, and then it came up with a bunch of threads with brides looking in similar areas, brides who had their weddings at these venues. I actually ended up finding our venue because I saw someone post a TikTok that she was getting married there. And I actually reached out to her recently and I sent her a message and I was like, we ended up booking because of your TikTok. Thank you so much. And we got to talking and I'm so excited to like watch her wedding journey come to life. So I think it's really helpful to just get advice from people who are on your same boat and can give like words of wisdom. This next one I kind of already touched on, but just listening to your gut. And I wrote here, it's your wedding, which is really a reminder for me. But yeah, I think again, you're not going to be able to please everyone. The people who are going to come to your wedding are going to come because they love and care for you and want to celebrate your love. And for those that it might be an inconvenience to and might not be able to make it, we'll celebrate with them in other ways. Don't close yourself off too early on. So Ryan and I kept going back and forth with that first venue or the second venue at Perona Farms. And I think because it was one of the first ones that we saw, I kind of grew an attachment to it and I kept comparing things back to that one. And I was like, should we just do it? It'll be easier. We just have to show up on the wedding day. There's so much included. And in the end, I'm really happy that we didn't just settle for that and we kept looking. And we kept opening up our horizons. When I saw that TikTok, I was like, oh, but you know, we're not looking in that area to get married, even though I love this. And then I was like, why aren't we looking in that area to get married? You know? And I think it's gonna be perfect, the location, at least for us. Ryan and I love to travel. We love to take like mini vacations. So I think that our wedding will now feel like a mini vacation. And I also just think it's a great location for people to come and visit from out of town too. I'm already gonna have people like flying from Florida, so where they fly to doesn't really matter as much. And I would love for people to make a little weekend trip out of it and go eat some lobster rolls. And when we first started looking, that wasn't even something that was in my mind. So again, I think just not closing yourself off, even if you have that dream wedding in mind and you know what you've wanted from the start, I would just try not to close yourself off. Another one I have is to not be rushed into making a decision. The first venue, Perona, emailed us a few times and they were like, hey, just checking in because we've had a lot of tours and like the dates are filling up quickly. And my friends have just told me that in general, there's a lot of pressure for you to book with like vendors or with places. And we definitely felt a bit of that pressure with some of the spots that we went to see. The reality of the situation is that if the dates were already booked, the venue wouldn't be emailing you. That was something that Ryan brought up. Like, they still want your business, so clearly the dates are still available. I'm not saying don't get the wheels turning. You definitely should. I was shocked at how many spots were already taken like through 2026. So definitely start looking early on and figuring out what you like and what you don't like, but don't feel pressured to make a decision right away just because you think you need to make one. And then I wrote on here just that there is gonna be anxiety and stress around this if you're an anxious girly like I am. For a bit there, I was changing my mind every 30 minutes. Like it became a joke. Like I would send voice notes to my friend Zaina and we were like, okay, captain's log, 12:30 p.m. this is what we're thinking. And then by 2 p.m. I had an entirely different idea. And I think that that's just the reality of things sometimes, your wedding is, like I said, it's not going to be the only best day of your life, but it is a big day and it's a big celebration, and that can be really stressful to take on. But I think you really just need to trust yourself and trust your gut, and also let things go. There are certain things that you are just not going to have the control over, and worrying about them isn't going to make it any better or any worse. I'm going to keep this to play back for myself throughout the wedding process. I think if you have ever planned a wedding, if you're helping someone plan a wedding, my heart goes out to you, because this is a huge undertaking that again was shocking to me when I started looking into everything. I love how I was like, don't worry guys, I'm gonna do all of my regular content and then also wedding content. And it's like, girl, you have a full-time job and you're also planning a wedding during this time. So I don't know what my content will look like throughout the next few months, but I think it's going to be really exciting to take you guys along the way. Hopefully you enjoy these types of videos even if you're not planning a wedding. I feel like I'm just updating my friends on what's going on. I'm currently putting together my little like bridesmaid proposal boxes and stuff. I actually didn't even think I was gonna have bridesmaids, so I'll talk a little bit about that and what I'm putting in them and all of that for my next wedding diaries video. But yeah, that's it for now. We're getting married!
Live your life within the moment, moment. And don't go wait until the morning, morning. You never know when it is over, over. All that I know is we'll get older, older. So let us dance this night away, older.